Welcome back. You no longer have to suffer in silence. The quality of mental health care and treatments have gotten better over the years, but for men, suicide numbers are still at an alarming rate. Tonight in my special report, one man I spoke to says he wants to eliminate the stigma around the topic. And for those suffering right now, he says, don't give up.
Day in and day out.
I could not escape the heaviness that I was feeling. That's where I got to a dark place and I attempted suicide.
For him, it felt like a living hell on earth. The nightmare Eric Walker found himself trapped in, thinking, believing there was no way out.
I didn't realize how much people would have missed me had I been gone. And that makes me emotional right now just talking about it.
More than 20 years later, he remembers exactly where his head was at the time.
I equate it to being like Iron Man. You know, you have the suit of iron on, you know, you're a hero, you're looking heroic, and people will never know what you dealt with.
He struggled in silence. And as a black man asking for help and getting therapy, he says it's not the norm.
In life, asking for help or even mentioning this, that I was feeling sad or even want to cry or show some type of emotion just wasn't something that we do in our culture and just as men.
Psychotherapist Toya Wise says Eric's experience is reflective of many.
The mere fact that most suicides occur by men, or most suicides happen with men being the ones to commit suicide, is a reflection that there's a problem that exists. How is it that it's almost 80% of men that will actually take their lives?
According to Johns Hopkins University, suicide rates spike in the spring.
When I look at the moment I was at my worst was actually in the spring. And in fact, when I went through my attempt, spring.
In April, May, and June, researchers say suicide rates can be 2 to 3 times higher than in December, when rates are actually the lowest.
Apparently right now there's no clear rationale for why this happens.
Having the conversation is uncomfortable for many, but it doesn't have to be that way. Misha Emmett with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention says context is key.
How we talk about suicide matters. We don't say committed suicide because it implies judgment, right?
The nonprofit just launched a new suicide prevention program called Let's, Listening, Empathy, Trust, and Support for the Black community. Eric wishes this initiative was around during his struggle, and he wants others to look at him as living proof that there is a way out and a reason to live another day.
That's something I learned, that people do love you and they will miss you. So definitely get the help you need.
Now, there is a religious component to the topic of mental health and suicide, one just as strong as racial. Hear what one local pastor has to say about getting mental help, and you can find that in a digital exclusive right now on WadeTV.com.